Hey folks, my name is Jake, host and producer of GameSpot After Dark, GameSpot's official video game podcast. What you're about to watch is a clip from the most recent episode. If you want to hear the full thing, just look for GameSpot After Dark on the podcast platform of your choice. In this video, Jean-Luc shares his experience with Monster Hunter Rise after around 30 hours. If you enjoyed this, make sure to like and subscribe because all that really helps us out. Anyway, let's get to it. Well, Jean-Luc, you've probably been playing one of the biggest games of the year so far, and that is Monster Hunter Rise. How have you been doing with it?
I think it's fantastic. It's I feel like I should. People always ask well, what's your Monster Hunter credibility? It's like one of those weird franchises.
Whip your monster peen out,
because it's been around for so long, and I unfortunately have only played World. I tried to get into Generations Ultimate on the Switch, and I just couldn't get into it. Mechanically, it's so there's so many quality of life things that World made that I was just I can't get into this. I'm sure it's great. I respect the people who love it. Rise, however, builds off of World, and so all the things that I think World did great, that it continues with. So it has a lot of the quality of life stuff, being able to pick up items as you move, just the fluidity of the animation, and the nice thing about it compared to World is that because it's technically not the same engine. It's actually I think World was using MT Framework and this is using the RE engine, but one of the complaints about World was that because they had to rebuild it for HD, there weren't as many monsters. I forget the total count in World, but Generations Ultimate had 90 plus. So a lot of people were like, "This isn't enough monsters to hunt. This is bullshit." Even though I played it and I was like, "Oh, I thought it was pretty good. I had a good time." But this is feels more substantial, where it's okay, they brought everything in from World and then are just adding more on top of it. Also, this game is Japanese inspired in its setting, which is fantastic and, in my opinion, way more interesting than the weird New World colonizer vibes of Monster Hunter World. I mean, it was fine, but it was a little oh, okay, it's sure, we're in a new world and whatever, and this is all the monsters are inspired by yokai, so you're this is great, and then every introduction is a cutscene where there's a poem about each monster. They're very cheesy, but they're it's very fun.
I love that because it's really, really poetic, and they're now smash this thing to death.
Yeah. Basically. So I love the vibes, the soundtrack. Oh, the soundtrack is absolute banger, just wall to wall, everything also, in it is so good.
Title sequence,
title sequence.
The title screen, it's Capcom, when they do title screens, they do good.
They do.
It's Dragon's Dogma kind of I'm just gonna let this title screen rock for a bit, because I turned it on for the first time and I was sing to me, nice lady. That's very nice. It's soothing. It's doing panning, and she's sitting down and doing this really heartfelt song. I was I love this. I don't want to play this anymore. This is 10.
Smash a monster to death.
Yeah, smash a monster to death. But yeah, it's I think they make so many little changes that I think for me makes it more enjoyable than World. Specifically, I think because it's on handheld, they kind of have to streamline some of the processes. So in World, they had this it's HD, so we have this big hub, and you're kind of walking upstairs and going to these multiple locations, and there's an elevator you take, and it's cool, but after a while you're I just need to quickly get to the cantina. I don't want to walk around. I don't care about this anymore. Because it's on Switch, the hub is super confined. You can just instantly fast travel to anywhere, and it's instantaneous. So everything feels snappier in the game. It feels you can just get to where you need to go to get what you want, so you can get back to the next fight. So everything just feels really, really immediate in a way that I think is more beneficial to the game. It's not trying to impress you as much with the visuals, so you can just focus more on the fighting. And then the fighting itself, I feel they've made a couple of really smart additions. The first being the biggest being the wireframe, or a wire bug, which basically is a grappling hook that you can use both in traversal and in fights. In the traversal, it's great because it allows you to like ninja run your way on walls and up terrain. And when you first play it, you look at the map and you're like, oh, okay, I have these like basic lanes that I'm following to get to the monsters. But what you kind of don't realize is that you can basically go anywhere you want using the wire bug. And when you get really good at it, you can like chain the wire bug and essentially like just parkour your way up like a mountain if you want to. And that can get you to like different vantage points, so you can get to like certain special rare resources. So there's like a sense of verticality that they've added with it that I think just like makes running around really fun in a way where, because like World had that verticality too, but it kind of sucked because if you were like fighting a monster at like the top of like a tree and you get knocked off, you're like, okay, I gotta spend 5 minutes walking my way back up. This, like, a monster knocked me off, and like mid-air I like grappled back onto the ledge and just like got myself back up, and it felt super satisfying.
The amount of times in World where I've been like running away from a monster and forget that there's a ledge there, and like turn the camera at the last second to see that, oh shit, there's a ledge there, and my hunter's like, it's too late, buddy, we're leaping off this, and I'm just like, I was like, oh my god. It's got like the wire bug stuff. It's got big like Bionic Commando vibes for me. Like, whenever I'm playing it, I'm just like, this is Bionic Commando Monster Hunter, and I'm very into it.
It's really good. It's super fun, and then it also comes into the combat where you can use it to do like certain combos, and they have like unique combos for each weapon that you can then even like go and trade them out. You unlock like new combos as you go. So like it's just like all of the complexity of World, and then they've just like layered even more on it. Although I feel like it's not complex enough where it's hard to understand well, yes and no. I would say it still has that Monster Hunter problem where like if it's your first time playing it, you're probably going to be like pretty confused and the tutorials aren't the best. But compared to something like Generations Ultimate, where I tried going from World to that, and I was like, I have no idea. This is like building off of like, you know, 3DS games worth of like mechanics, and I have no idea what I'm doing. This feels like a more natural step from World to jump into, and I would actually recommend it, even if you haven't played World, because I think just the portability nature of it's so easy to like pick up and try.
How's the multiplayer? I don't know if you've had a chance, because I know the servers have been on and off a little bit. Have you experienced that at all?
Yeah, no, I was able to play a little bit of the multiplayer when it was up for like press people. It apparently Ben Jenko was telling me it's apparently using like Nintendo's new online like networking. Like they have like a new way that they like network, and this is going to be like the premier game that shows it off. Granted, it was a preview environment, so I can't speak to like the, you know, public experience, but it was instantaneous. Like I went to a lobby, found friends and said, all right, let's play together. Within seconds, we were just like in the same match. And then we were able to just join instantly.
I hope that continues.
That
sounds awesome.
It
How
was
many
very
toads
smooth.
did they sacrifice to the devil to make that happen?
There's not enough, probably.
There's got to be some like downside to this, because I never tried Nintendo and internet. Come on.
So, but what about just the act of like getting into games with friends and going back to the hub? Because I remember that was one really weird thing about Monster Hunter World, and I know people who play the old one said it was improved, but still, I remember. Yeah. I think specifically, like trying to play co-op story was super strange in World. I think like you couldn't do
cutscenes. So like in World, they had this thing where if one player hadn't seen a cutscene, they couldn't join until like after the cutscene had triggered, because like you have to like walk around and find the monster, and so you'd basically play with a friend, be like, okay, you join the match, or you start up the match. Let the cutscene, tell us when the cutscene's over, and then we'll join you. And it was super annoying. This doesn't have that problem because, one, there aren't any like cutscenes that play during the match. They just play like before, and they're all pre-rendered, so it doesn't have that problem. On top of that, they have separated the single player and the multiplayer missions from each other. So there's like village missions and there's hub missions. And the village missions, which is the story mode, although it's pretty minimal compared to World, there isn't really much of a story compared to that game. But you can only do those single player. So then like
Okay.
The hub stuff, you can do the hub stuff single player if you want, but it's meant for co-op. So there isn't any of those restrictions anymore. It's also really easy to join. You can set up like lobby parameters. They have the ID system, which they've had in like World. You can also just pull up your friends list and just like instantly join them. So it feels a lot. They've definitely learned a lot of lessons from the multiplayer. Also, like I said, because the hub is a lot smaller and more condensed, it's like way easier to just like go to the like multiplayer room as opposed to World, where again it's like, okay, I got to travel all the way up the elevator and the cutscene's gonna play and I have to wait and there's a long loading time. Like it's just snappy. It felt really good to just like immediately be able to get in and start playing with people.
That's so cool. I really hope they can maintain that energy when the game launches, because like our review is, as of this recording, still in progress because of the multiplayer question. But that's really cool. I know like this is the kind of the pilot of that new online I don't know if it's a system, like I don't know what you call it, but that's exciting to hear.
I hope it.
Yeah, structure.
I hope it rolls out to like. I wonder if they'll. I hope they retroactively put it into like stuff like Smash and Mario Kart. And I mean Mario Kart's. I don't know. I've had very good luck with Mario Kart. Like it's always been pretty good. Smash less so, but like I would love to see that stuff going. I'm just really happy there's a portable Monster Hunter again. Like,
it feels great. It's like I really want everyone, like if you liked World and you have a Switch, like you should absolutely play it because it does feel like an evolution of that game. I'm super curious what like hardcore Monster Hunter, like old school Monster Hunter people who didn't like World feel about it. Or I guess I don't know if like anyone disliked World. I'm sure there's somebody who
I know a few hardcore Monster Hunter. My brother was like not super into World, and he's like he has literal thousands of hours in various Monster Hunter games.
Okay.
Yeah.
What was it specifically they didn't like about it?
I think my brother was like, I think he's one of those people who, because we grew up playing Monster Hunter from PS2, PSP onwards, the obtuseness of it is kind of a kind of a thing. Like there's a language to it. So like when you change it and simplify it, it also, to a lot of people, it makes it uncomplicated. But to some people, it's like you throw them for a loop. And I think that was a big part of it. Like the language he'd grown to like speak and understand the way it was formatted and presented, it kind of changed. And I think like the lack of monsters and the kind of area stuff was something that he was like, I mean, like my brother's not a maniac. He wasn't on the internet fighting people about it. He was just like, I liked it, but you know, it wasn't the best one for me. He's more
okay.
He's like me, where if he's playing Monster Hunter, he needs to be like contorting his fingers until it's painful and reading dialogue and not understanding anying that's on screen and that kind of stuff.
All right.
But like I've been playing Monster Hunter for years, and I picked this one up, and I'm having a fantastic time with it. Like it's a new flavor of Monster Hunter, and that's good.
I think it the setting, like I said, does a lot to like separate it. Also, Palamutes. There's dogs in this game, and they're beautiful. You get to make a dog at the beginning. Mine is pink dog named Sakura, and then you get to like they're called buddies. So like the Palamutes and the Palicos are now buddies, and there's like a whole buddy mechanic where you can like hire new buddies, or you can like request buddies with certain stats, and then you can just go in and like make, so you could literally, I think you have like 12 or 16 slots. If you wanted, you could individually customize the look of all 16 of your buddies and just never actually play the game.
I have a really cool white dog named Nina.
But the
buddies
no! Oh wait! No! I just realized.
Damn! No!
I got got.
Oni-chan, Asobu.
I was just like, oh, that's cute. That was probably the name of Tam's dog, or
no.
How long do you see yourself playing this game? Do you think you'll be spending a lot more time with it, or do you feel like you've kind of gotten your fill of it during this preview experience?
I'll definitely play more. I've put about 30 hours in, although I'm sure like 5 of that was just like leaving my Switch on. But I'm
boost those numbers.
I feel like I'm still pretty early. Like I got like the first credits, but it like that doesn't really mean anything because I think there's still way more story to do, and then I've like only got to do a little bit of like the multiplayer hub stuff. So I'm not the kind of person who would probably just like play for thousands of hours and try and get like my Monster Hunter rank score up, but at the very least I want to fight every monster and, you know, make a couple of the cool sets that I want to make, and so I'll probably put in at least another 30 hours, I bet.